a second. Just so we're all aware that we really have been meeting. I just hit the record button. I got so excited. So we have been meeting. We had a prayer. We've had discussion. Sorry. But I agree with you that a leader it's a role. It's something that I am a shift supervisor. I'm probably have said this before at my part-time job, but I take it so seriously in the fact that I don't take it serious at all. I do not want these people and the little kids. We have little baggers that, help people out with their groceries. I don't want them to be afraid of me. I don't want them to ever think of me as a manager, because I don't manage them. I want to be their leader. I want to be able to be their friend, So I don't know.
I think in a lot of ways that's good, but I also is in a lot of workplaces, it is important that they know that somebody's in charge as well too, because sometimes there has to be subtle corrections. It doesn't mean you have to be mean necessarily or anything, but sometimes know what the expectations are and what the parameters are.
Absolutely.
And I think when you have that relationship, when you have as being as a friend, as you were saying, but at the same time, they know that if there's anything wrong that they're doing, you're going to be able to talk to them in a way that they're like, okay, you know what? She's doing this because she wants the best for me, and they're not going to be offended, they're going to take you as a friend, as a leader, but they're going to listen to your advice too. So
that's exactly what I have found. I have found the ones that I have to harp on and that I'm not as easygoing on, I get a lot of pushback from them. But the ones that I can be easygoing with and I'm like, hey, you need to go do this job because you forgot to do it, they are ready to jump, and do what they can to help out. So that's what I found works for my effective team.
So can I just add something though? I think the element of being a friend also there has to be boundaries within that, right?
Yeah.
I started reading for next week, and there's a part in there where it talks about really meeting and understanding the expectations, and those expectations of even that friendship of a boss to another employee that you supervise still has to have expectations that have to be meted. And I think that in things that I've seen, sometimes that friendship, those lines get really blurred and it becomes difficult to really have an effective team as well.
Yeah, it can. Sure.
Yeah, interesting enough, I told you guys last week, I'm with the young men, right? And I have a really good relationship with them. We're friends, and when they have a problem, they'll come to me and talk to me and say, hey, you know what, I'm going through this. Can you help me? And so on and so forth, But at the same time, I put my walls with them, saying, you know what, if you're doing something wrong, you better know that I'm going to be telling you that's not okay. And I'm going to be pushing you to go and talk to the bishop, if you need to. And I think they know that I want the best for them, but at the same time, I can be their friend. But at the same time, I have to put those walls where if they cross those lines, I have to be kind of strict and straightforward and say, you know what, it's not okay what you're doing. I still love you, but you need to fix this, and there's ways to fix it. So, but it's just interesting to see that. So.
Absolutely. So on to the next one. It says, what do group norms have to do with effective team building? And then it says, what would you say your current our group norms include? Are they healthy group norms? If not, what could be changed?
Well, this is our second time that we meet. And I know I talked to Danny, and then I talked to
Caitlin.
Yes, about our what's it called,
our goals.
Yes, our goals, and it's kind of fun to talk to you guys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the second time that we meet, and I think we do pretty well. I think we listen to each other. We take turns of talking, you know, and answer the questions. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we can do better, but I don't know. That's what I feel.
One thing I remember reading about, and I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but it talked about successful teams all participate, and not just one person dominating the conversation or one person that is just kind of listening and not participating. And as I read that question, that's something I thought of from the 1 week that we have met, is that everybody was willing to speak up and participate. I think that's part of what made, you know, from the small sample size that we have with our group, that was one thing that made us successful.
I think also going on that part, that we also are, oh, I just lost my train of thought. When we have something to say, we're not repeating, we're not, you know, trying to get the last word in. And I think that in a team environment, that can be really a downer, right? That we've got somebody vying for that top spot, even when their idea may not be the top idea, or they may just be regurgitating what someone else has said. So, and it is hard. This is our second week, and it is a challenge, right?
Yeah, but I think that we work so well together. I mean, even setting up a time was so easy. We're just easygoing, and I think that's a lot of maybe a norm for our group, is we're easygoing and we're respectful of each other's opinions and ideas. And yeah, so I think we have a very effective group so far.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. So how does oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, as part of that question, I also kind of tried to think of people I work with at work, and some issues that are not social norms and how that's impacted. And we've got one guy that's kind of a beacon, be so loud and angrily that nobody wants to say anything. And it kind of goes to that psychological and not being a safe psychological area. We've got another guy that always takes phone calls in the middle of meetings, and it creates conflict. He doesn't realize how much it distracts people. And those are some of the non-social norms I thought of. Ideal. I don't know if you guys see any of those where you work.
Yeah, but that takes us right on to our next question about psychological safety. Is how does psychological safety in a team increase overall effectiveness? And what are the roles of communication and empathy in creating a psychological safety?
So I guess for me, I sometimes tend to open up more than I think I should, or more than is my nature. But I think sometimes in doing that, it helps create that kind of openness, that it's okay to share, it's okay to feel, it's okay to show emotion. I have pride in my boss's office, and he's okay with that. And I think maybe, Danny, I'm speaking, I hope I'm not, well, I'm going to speak for myself, not for all women, right?
You need to go for it. No.
Showing that emotion is a healthy thing, and it opens us up to at least being able to better understand, to better hear, and to express in a way that we may not be able to express verbally in other ways, right?
I would agree.
So I think opening ourselves up also helps lessen our vulnerability when we come into difficult work situations. So we've already opened ourselves up. They know who we are. They recognize they can deal with some of that, I think, easier than maybe if we aren't open.
You know, and I think going along those lines, it's a feeling of where you go to talk to your leader, or if you're the leader, you know, and you're listening to these people, or you're talking to your boss. It's something that when you go there, you can ask questions, you know, and you're not gonna feel embarrassed about asking any questions, or even if you screwed up something, you know, it's okay. There's a way to fix the thing that you might screw up, you know, and there shouldn't be any shame of mistakes that we make, you know. But I think one of these psychological safety nets, you know, it's to understand each other and to feel comfortable about coming out with our ideas, what we feel, and, you know, and go from there. So,
you know, I feel like in a psychologically safe environment, I would wonder if there's less mistakes because you're not so uptight about making mistakes. I mean, you know that you can make a mistake and you can learn from it and you go on. But I think if you're not feeling safe, then you're uptight, and I think that's when errors really start to occur, is when you're nervous. I mean, I just think like the whole work environment and the productivity would, you know, benefit from a safer environment.
That's an interesting thought.
yeah. Which makes sense, though. It really does. So,
I think when you feel safe, you'll make the decisions and do the things that you think you should do. And when you don't feel safe, you tend to do the things that you think that person that makes you feel unsafe wants you to do. You're doing those things for the wrong reason.
Right, right. I agree.
Yeah. You're wanting everybody to be successful, not just yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So how does sharing personal experience and being vulnerable influence team dynamics? Think of the example of Sakaguchi. I can't remember his name, sorry. And do you have any personal examples of this in organizations you are involved in?
I think Lisa kind of hit it on the head a little bit. You know, she felt comfortable. I've never went to my boss's office and cried. I don't cry, but to be able to do that and feel safe to do it, it probably created a little bit of a connection that you didn't have before.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Yeah, I have shed tears in front of my bosses. They just know that Danny comes with a tissue. And it's not even bad things. I mean, it can just be, I'm so grateful to them to have a job sometimes, or they spoil me rotten and I cry, but they have provided me a safe and thriving work environment. So yeah, and I think being vulnerable in front of them, it's a way for me to really express, because sometimes words are just not enough, but how grateful I am that I get to work with them. So I think it's important.
Well, you know, it's not only when you have, you know, when you're sad and go in the office and cry to the boss, you know, it's when you have those happy moments, you know, where you go and share those happy moments with your bosses and they're happy for you too, you know. When that happens, your boss and you come, I want to say, together, you know, and I don't know, it's it's not like a boss employee relationship. It's more like a friendship relationship, you know, where if I'm happy, you're going to be happy for me, you know, and vice versa. And if you're sad, I'm going to be sad too, you know, and vice versa. So it's kind of a give and take kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my parents have been on a mission for a year and a half. They get home next week. They start trekking back to Idaho. But when they were at the MTC, they were at the MTC for a week, and then they had to come up to Salt Lake, where I live, for some training. There were self-reliance missionaries. And so they came to my ward a couple weeks. And so we introduced, you know, they were introduced as my parents going on a mission. And
Hello?
Oh no. She gets to the best part and freezes. No.
Must be really cold in Nova Scotia tonight.
That's a cliffhanger. But I wanted to say, while she's still on pause, is so many of these things that we're talking about, they just completely go hand in hand with a home life too.
Yep. It's interesting to see that, right? Because every week I'm reading these case studies and doing the work and all that kind of stuff. I always stop and think about my own life with my family, work, church, school.
Oh, good, you're back.
You're back.
We were waiting for this cliffhanger.
Well, there's not much cliffhanger other than it makes me feel good that the members of my ward have been asking me how my parents are doing.
Oh,
and they're all, excited for them to come home. And I think that's not necessarily a work environment, but it still is the relationships that we share, that when we are sharing the good stuff, like Ramona said, it helps get everybody excited, right?
So while you were froze, we were just talking about how these things that we're talking about go hand in hand with home and, organization, not just work, but these principles and these values. I mean, they just go, in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting to relate what we're studying, with the gospel. And I like to do that, to relate the assignments and the readings and relate it to the gospel, and how can I apply those principles that I'm learning in the class, in the gospel, And I think it's just amazing. I mean, before I went to any church school like BYU or Pathway or anything, I never thought you can have education mixed with the gospel principles kind of thing. But it happens, I mean, it's happening right now. And this is class. And it's so interesting how my teacher involves finances with the gospel too, And it's just mind-blowing to me. So,
yeah.
So I mentioned earlier that I've gone to these Covey trainings several times for work things. And one thing that I've always kind of picked up on, a lot of what he teaches really are just gospel principles. They're things that most of us as members of the church naturally do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be at these conferences, and they'll be anywhere in the United States or world somewhere else. And all these people come from all these things. And I always think that if missionaries knocked on the door and tried to teach them any of this stuff, they'd throw them out just like regular missionaries. But they hear it from Stephen Covey and they think this stuff's great. So it is.
I keep waiting for him to quote scripture in the book.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too.
Right?
Yes. I'm just I mean, obviously he's LDS, but at first I was like, is this guy LDS? I mean, I didn't know right off the top of my head, but I was like, this sounds very LDS. I mean, I was raised, with these, but it's still, he's like this secret undercover missionary.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, so last question. What can we do as an individual to initiate effective team behavior? Mm-hmm. And my answer to this is lead by example. I just feel like if I'm positive and I'm open and I'm providing a safe place, then my kids and my other people, they will feel confident and comfortable in coming to me if they have problems, but most importantly, lead by example.
Mm-hmm. So I work in a production environment for the church in the printing division, and I've noticed the managers or even the supervisor level, and even to an operator level, to that level, I am more engaged with those people when they are actually side by side with their employees working, rather than in their offices playing games on the computer or whatever they're doing. It sets a tone for that group, and when they're, like you said, when they're leading by example, they're actually with their people. It develops that unity among a group.
Exactly.
You know, it's interesting. Last semester, I was reading a paper by, and I don't know if you guys know this guy, but his name is Sanger Folkman. And he was talking about had to be an effective leader. And I wrote this down when I saw these questions. And if it's okay, I'm just going to read a little bit about it. One of the main points he was making is that as individual, the most effective leadership behavior in changing is to inspire those around you. This will help me to make a better connections, you know, to understand where are they coming from, you know, what are their feelings, why are they happy, why are they sad, what are they, you know, whatever it is, you know. And then a quote from here, it says, inspired leaders understand the needs for making an emotion connection with their coworkers. So I thought that was kind of cool.
It is, and I mean, I totally agree with it.
And yeah. I think that's what we were talking about, you know, to make those connections and to understand if you're happy, you know what, I'm gonna be happy. If you're sad, I'm gonna be sad, and we just try to work it together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that point though, how can you know your employees if you're not getting to know them? You're not creating an environment where they feel comfortable. I think that it really goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know, the head manager at this store that I work part-time at, her name is Sherry, and everybody calls her Scary Sherry. And it just like floors me because I'm like, she is the least scariest person I've ever met in my life. But I kind of think that she's super, super nice to me because we went through a really stressful time at the store, and I knew that she was under a lot of pressure. And so I went up to her, and you know, she's above me, she's my manager, and I just went, Sherry, how are you doing? Are you okay? I mean, is there anything that we can do for you? And that has set the whole tone for our relationship. She has never been cross with me. She's just always laughed and joked with me. And so other people I've seen her not cross, she's just intense. But I have never seen that side of her with me. And I think a lot of it was, you know, just taking that extra step, just to how are you doing personally and professionally? I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? It kind of goes back to the other question. How does sharing personal experiences help you in the team member? You know, and I like to share personal experiences because that makes me be closer to you guys, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because we had a question.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So does anybody else have anything else to say? I mean, we pretty much covered it all. So if you have anything else to say, perfect.
So one thing I checked, I'm on an airplane next week at this time. I don't land in Salt Lake until 7:40. So unless anybody wants to change time, I'll probably miss next week. I don't know if there's a way to make these up or how that works.
And I'm in the same boat. Bart, I'll see you at the airport.
What, you get in on Thursday as well?
Yeah, my plane gets in about 7:20, I think. So.
Oh, we will see each other.
Yeah.
With two of us for sure being gone, does anybody want to schedule this a little later next week or maybe on Friday sometime?
When you say a little bit later, what time are you thinking?
Yeah, you're like on a whole different time zone.
I know. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What if?
Are you in Florida?
Yes.
What if? I mean, because I can't do it Friday. I work Fridays at the second job. I could do it later, but I wonder if you guys could be your own group and then just post it to the same thing. I think that still counts as a group meeting. I think. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
So that you three do your own thing, and then Bart and I just find a time.
Yeah.
Who's conducting? Is it Ramon or you?
I am next week.
So that works, the three of you, and then Bart, if we connect somewhere else, somehow else, does that work?
Sure. What's your schedule like on Friday?
I can meet anytime after 4.
Sure, I can. I could meet 4. I'd like to get it done earlier so that I have my Friday evening free. But
yeah, perfect.
But 4 is fine with me.
Should we just say 4 then?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Cool.
Crisis diverted.
Okay.
You work out.
That sounds fabulous. All right. Well, you guys have a great week. I am really, really enjoying you guys, and I really appreciate your feedback, and I love you guys. You guys are just great. So I will post this, and I hope you guys have safe travels and have a fabulous week.
Hey, quick question.
Yes.
I just want to know how's everybody doing with their accountability project?
Yes.
10,000 steps today.
How many?
Yes.
I only got 8,000 steps today. Darn it. That's okay.
That's a ton of steps, actually. That really is a ton of steps.
Yeah.
And I walked and ran on the treadmill for 30 minutes, which was great because my daughter made waffles for dinner and I put Nutella on the top.
Nice.
Hey, Ramon, what part of Florida are you at? Are you okay?
Yes, we are. So I'm in the southwest area, which is south of Tampa, basically.
Okay.
And you know what? Don't get me wrong. I'm sad for these people because last year we had Hurricane Irma come by my area, and it was awful and it was bad, you know. But these people got it worse. I think they're pretty bad. So yeah, they're away. They're like 8 hours away from me. So, but yeah. So we're doing okay now.
I'm glad that you're safe.
Yeah, and I tell you, last year we had it was bad. I mean, we didn't have electricity for a week, and it was hot and humid, and it was just bad. So I know what they're going through, you know. So and I don't know. I don't know if my state is gonna organize like groups, you know, where they can go and help them and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, we're doing well though. So
good. And your goals are going good?
Mine are going well. I tell you what, it's getting a little bit difficult. I'm so busy, you know, but it's getting there. So
yep, right.
So this weekend I should be going paintballing, but I'm not because I didn't do one of my goals.
Oh no!
I know. I'm a little bit sad about it, but it's okay.
It's all right. Well, good for you for sticking with it, though. How about you, Bart? How's your accountability and goals going?
Mine are going okay. I have to really force myself to remember each day, but they're going good.
Good.
Good. Well, I'm thinking about you guys. I'm praying for you. So stay safe and have a great week.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.